There's this perception that these drone pilots are just video gamers, and in some ways that has a little bit of truth in it. You know, one of the people I remember interviewing for the book was a 19-year-old drone pilot who is a high school dropout, joins the Army wanting to be a helicopter mechanic, and he's not qualified to be a mechanic, and so they say, because he failed his high school English class actually, which shows you the military logic here, but they say, do you want to be a drone pilot instead? And he turns out to be incredible at it because of video games. And he's so good actually that they bring him back from Iraq and make him an instructor in the training academy. This is in some ways a really cool story because, you know, it goes from high school dropout to really hitting the high point of the career. And the flip side, though, is that you tell that story, someone in the Air Force doesn't like it all that much. He's in the Army. He's a high school dropout. He's not even an officer. And hold it, you're saying this young kid has taken out more enemy targets, saved more American lives than every single F-15 pilot put together. That's not something we like. And that's an example of this demographic change that comes out of it just by using video game technology. And in a lot of ways, the military is free riding off of the video game industry. The controllers for a lot of these systems look exactly like video game controllers, like those on your PlayStation or your Xbox. And the reason in this free riding is that the military figured out, hold it, the controllers have already been designed to fit your hands perfectly, etc. So why don't we just use them? The other is, well, we have this generation that's already trained up in their use. So why would we try and use different systems? We'd have to retrain them how to utilize. So you've got that aspect. Also, for the way we talk about these experiences, including even things like killing, we often turn to parallels in the virtual world, in video games. I remember one young officer talking about the experience of taking out an enemy target from afar. And he kind of, paused and he was like searching for words to describe it. And he goes, it's like a video game. And that's kind of the parallel he was making. Now, that said, it doesn't mean that they treat these acts of violence as just something to play at. These drone pilots take their jobs incredibly serious. They see themselves as combatants. They see themselves as people making decisions of life or death, not just on the enemy, but that American soldiers will depend on decisions they make that day. And they take it very seriously. They even wear their flight suits into the compound, sort of feel like you really are going into war. But I do remember a Air Force squadron commander talking about the grinding nature of this, the 24/7 aspect of it, the fact that you would be flying that drone day after day after day, just sitting behind that computer screen, that he as a unit commander described he had to do something different than what he had to do, for example, when he was commanding units out in the Middle East. He had to make sure to continually reinforce the importance of the job that they were doing, make sure that they were always staying connected to the reality, staying connected to the fact that lives did depend on them. And he'd have to fight for interface with the real world, trying to bring back soldiers from Iraq to come visit the unit and tell them how important the job that they're doing, try and get his drone pilots out into the field so they can meet with the people that they're only talking to right now via text.